Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to review another One Piece chapter 1334, which I will admit I ended up accidentally reviewing the wrong chapter, so I just had to delete that video and start again because, well, I don't really want to just mistakenly read the narration for the first 5 minutes of a chapter before realizing, oh, it's the wrong chapter. I'd rather be the official one, so apologies there for those who might have ended up seeing that other one, but I've deleted that. But anyway, this is getting a bit late here, but I'm trying to make sure that I can finish this review, hopefully in 30 minutes, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this chapter is pretty much a this chapter is pretty much a follow-up to chapter 1333, where Robin had a retouching reunion with Saul, where they had their emotional moments. Many of the Straw Hats crying. The Straw Hats also reunited with the new Giant Warrior pirates, and also we learned a bit more of Robin's life on the run, where she even contemplated of having suicide, which is pretty dark. But anyway, emotional moments for Robin. But yeah. Let's see how this chapter will follow up with the reunion with Saul. Well, we're about to find out. But before we begin that, we've got, of course, a new double-paneled spread for One Piece, where we got a giant mechanized Frankie flying in the air with a bunch of with all the other Straw Hats on it with like a bunch of water pistols, and they're all ready to shoot. I believe this cover page is done by the fact that Frankie's voice actor, I believe it's Kazuki Yao, is retiring from the voice acting role. I think due to some old age or health concerns, which is, for many One Piece fans, this is a very sad moment because Frankie's Japanese anime voice is rather pretty iconic of the super. So yeah. He really brought life to the character, if you will, which is a sad, but I think most people can understand why he left and now is being replaced by a new voice actor. But it also gives people the idea of, like, would this end up being the case for future voice actors down the line, given the fact that One Piece is nearly 30 years old, in a couple of years. So, yeah, which, to be fair, for a while, I thought that might have been the end mark for One Piece, but I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. It seems like it's going to be a much, much longer road. So, yeah, we'll have to find out. But anyway, enough. Let's see. But I do like the but I do like how the Frankie's flying. You've got like Luffy double pistol. Most of the others have like Nami has one pistol, but holding on to Luffy. Most of them have like pistols where they have to be held with both hands. Chopper, I think, has like a mini water pistol, but yeah. I do like how they're all like either positions of sitting, standing, or doing sniper positions, particularly like Usopp, and Brock is just doing like a bit of a cover one. So yeah, it's a nice little cover panel. Anyway, on to the actual chapter. Whoops, I'm scrolling through. Let's see. Hold on. You got hold on. I'm just gonna have to reload. Sorry. See, Luffy anyway does his sort of like going Old Man Soul. Talking about doing a sort of sumo position hand greet thing, sort of like a boss Jinbe like pose, saying like how he did a great favor to one of his crew, one of his youngins, and thanks him kindly, if you will. But begging your pardon, with the Straw Hats wondering where Luffy learned to do that, which I assume he is copying Jinbe's position, but thinking of the manners of from probably Ace and Maki Kano, which I mentioned last. From like what I mentioned in the last review. But Luffy just goes like, well, it's good to meet you, sir. Robin introduces Soul to Luffy, but he goes like, yeah, I know about Luffy and about how he's famous. With Soul, just happy that Robin managed to find them after all. The friends that he told which she says, yeah, and just as he said, so she found true friends who stand up to protect her. And this gets, of course, Usopp, Chopper, Nami, Sanji, Frankie, and Brook. Teary guys again thinking, we'll protect you for life, getting a little emotional. With Luffy laughing and going like, of course, he will. So we have that little moment. So then we cut to like, so saying, listen to all your friends, Robin, and thanks them for coming. Asking all of Robin's friends to listen and thanks them for coming. Apologizing for like the surprise he did earlier, saying he reversed it over and over with his assistant, which we get to the female giant from last chapter. We learn her name is Angie. And Sol talks about how years ago he was in the Navy, so I know what a big deal one of the 4 emperors were. With Luffy, thanking Luffy for them to keeping Robin safe, and he can tell them to keep at it, which Luffy just says that he will. Anyway, Lilith starts flying up and going like, hey, Sol, it's me. Sol, of course, does not really recognize her, wondering how she's flying, with Lilith saying that she's actually Vegapunk, which shocks, Sol. So with Jimbo then bringing out this metal box that has Vega on it, with Liz saying, yes, that's perfect. Gerd picks it up, saying how allow her to do it. With Jimbo saying Vegapunk requested that we bring this all the way from Egghead inside. With Liz saying, this is me. Luffy being shocked by saying, what? A Vega clone? Let's see, but with her going like Liv explained, saying a perfect recreation, not like we satellites, and saying this was the me who came here 20 years ago, revealing that this clone was used 20 years ago to come to Urahara, and revealed that the government would have gotten suspicious if Stella had left the lab for months at a time. So let's see, Vegapunk was doing cloning even back then, and cloning himself even back then. But she ends up saying, anyway, I saw how she snuck him out in a vat of biofluid, but she didn't really have the facility to safely extract him. And says this is why she intends to settle down here and build a new laboratory in Elbaf where it'd be safe. And Bonnie asks, does that mean that you're able to make her daddy all better? Which smiles and says, of course, Bonnie, which gets Bonnie excited. With Sol going like, if you're really Vegapunk, then he's delighted to see her again from after 20 years, but he can't get his head around why Vegapunk's now a woman. So Lily says it doesn't really matter, she can explain later. Let's see, and then you get some of the kids going, hey, Mr. Sol, are you done? Can we go play? And he apologizes to them, saying, yeah, and prefers the kids to thank for their help. Angie says, normally spring is a playground for the children, so we had to ask them to stay quiet while Sol did his little one-man act. And they comment about how he did all that, but she saw right through it. Anyway, she apologizes for the late introductions, and she reveals herself as Sol's assistant, Angie, which we get a narration book of Owl Library. Let's see, the Owl Library's librarian, Sol's assistant, Angie, if you will. And she goes like, sorry to talk down to you like this, but we run the best library and school in Elbaf here. Sorry about that. In Elbaf here. And she volunteers to show them around, which Luffy's excited. Let's see, and saying this place looks fun. With let's see, her being shocked that they're gone already, as Usopp and Luffy are just too enthusiastic to find where the warriors of Elbaf are training. Let's see. As they learn that that's war school where the children of Elbaf learn, saying that Sol found it 20 years ago on the behest of the former king. And with them, some of them thinking it looks neat and wondering if this is a training ground for warriors. They're being just too excited as they run up to the school. And we see the little school in the library, and we see the little walrus symbol with a university hat on top of it. So let's see, to give the symbol of the school's name. And we got a little few pods around the tree branches for probably classes, as we see a bunch of the giant kids playing in the water nearby. Sol says so long, Ange and Gerd. Let's see, tell them to show them wherever they go. As he's going to give Robin a tour of the library. Naomi tells Chopper let's go, but he talks about he's more curious about the library and all the books of that being huge there. Brock talks about how he hasn't been in school in ages, and Sanji volunteers to protect Nami. Let's see, and Frankie is more curious about the island's tree, with Jimbo even talking about how it's huge. As you see, Luffy and Usopp being chased by, and Zoro being chased by the little kid giants. Let's see, as they say, pick squid humans, catch them and take them prisoner. As Luffy's just like, it's the land of the giants. So I was wondering who should slash them. And Usopp says, don't even think about it. Let's see, I guess kids aren't meant to be I guess kids are meant to be brats. But before we continue, I'm just going to give my thoughts on what we've seen so far. Okay, I do like Luffy being seemingly matching the mannerisms of, from what he learned from Ace and Makino's lessons, well, at least observing those lessons, and then probably getting the pose from Jimbo of being like a big boss man saying, thank you for looking to our youngins, even though Luffy is technically younger than the majority of the Straw Hat crew. The only ones I think he's the same age as Usopp, and the only one he's actually older than is Chopper. I can't recall when Usopp and Luffy's birthdays go, but let's see. At the very least, only Chopper is younger than him, so yeah. But I do like how the crew go like, why are you doing this? But yeah. But I do like how Sol is pretty much aware who Luffy is, and about he knows he's a Yonko, so, and he is happy that Robin and I do like how he's happy that comments that Robin has found more. I do like how Robin confirms this and even gets the Straw Hats all emotional again. I do love that. Oh, we'll protect her for life. So I do like how this is a recurring trend of the Straw Hats just loving when they get praised by their fellow crewmates, as we saw on Punk Hazard when Luffy said you can trust them in case the Lord double-crossed them. And Robin, of course, said when she was warned in Zoe that powerful pirates would be hunting her for the polyglyph knowledge. But I do like how this is mixed with, of course, the tears from the emotions from the last chapter. So there's that. And anyway, I do like how we got let's see, the introduction of Sol's. We see the giant. We got a confirmation that the giant that was helping in Sol's act was actually his teacher's assistant, if you will. Which I think makes sense because I remember my school was having at least one teacher's assistant in the class. So there should be something like that in a school for kids at the very least. So yeah, I do like how Sol brings up that he is from the Navy, but I am curious. The fact that Sol has not brought up the fact that Luffy, I knew your grandfather and stuff. I'm wondering if that is gonna. If Sol's gonna mention that to Luffy at some point, it's like, I was a Marine at the time and I fought alongside your grandfather, but at the moment, it seems like he's just doing it as basic knowledge, just saying okay, I know since you're being a member of the Marines, I know what the Emperors a big deal of the Emperors were like back then. So this does seem to give the idea that the Emperors were at least somewhat established 20 years ago. At the very least, probably at some point in the beginning of the Great Pirate Age, where Whitebeard and the very least Charlotte Linlin, I think, were regarded as Yonko level. Let's see, but I'm not sure if they were called officially Yonko back then, but at least regarded as at least 2 of the 4 emperors, but we'll have to wait and see on that part. So, but anyway, I do like how Lilith tries to introduce herself as Vegapunk, but of course Sol does not actually know about the 6 Vegapunk satellite clones, doesn't really recognize her, but this gets to the part where I'm really annoyed. Now, granted, I can't remember this metal box it was Jinbei carrying in possibly Egghead, but the fact that it's a Vegapunk clone, which, okay, on one hand, I do like that gives a bit of the explanation that, okay, Vegapunk had a clone of him, an exact clone of himself, to travel to Elbaf while he remains in, let's see, Punk has it, so that the world government would not get suspicious of where he's gone. So it's like a little proxy of his to get the exact knowledge. And this clone was used to go to Elbaf. But I do not like the fact that this clone is going to be used to bring back Vegapunk, because, frankly, to me, I was not a big fan of all the satellites that were killed, brought back. Now, granted, they all seem to be brought back in a semi-fused form at the very least. But at the very least, I thought as long as like the main stellar body dies. But now it seems, now granted, there wasn't any emotional death thing, but I do feel like this sort of ruins a little bit of the impact of Vegapunk's dying message speech, if you will, and how that, let's see, played out in the chapter. Now, granted, that speech is still amazing, regardless if he's alive or dead, but I feel if it has more impact, that this is like the final voice of like a last old legend, if you will, before passing on, giving knowledge to everyone about the future of the world and the fate it will be if the one who claims the One Piece. I feel that this is targeted, and frankly, I really do not like this. I do not like it at all, but we'll see whether or not he is going to be actually cloned, or if something sort of prevents them from being happening and all that stuff. But I do like that we got a confirmation that Lilith seems to be staying. It will actually be staying on Elbaf and creating a new lab, which seems to make sense. It's like the one place where she can probably be protected without the world government hunting her down is the land of giants. So she can be protected here without the world government knowing that she's here. But yeah. So at least that part. But this is also really do not like is the fact that we've got confirmation that she can try, that she's going to try and work to try and restore Kuma back to what he was, which on one hand, I can see why Barney would be excited about this, and that's what she wanted. But frankly, to me, it's like, no, I do not want Kuma to be fully restored. It's like, okay, I can get it. Like, let's see, I can see why Oda might, perhaps being a father of a few daughters, might feel emotionally compelled to not have a father and daughter separated. But the reason why Kuma's flashback was so tragic and sad is because of all the suffering he went through, only to have all his memories gone at the end, and it's never coming back. Is what makes the story so tragic, and the fact that only just the fragments of his seemingly consciousness come back just one last time to save his daughter. All those emotions will feel like, for me, feel like they'll be ruined, and the fact that Oda is pretty much, oh no, wait, he's fully back to his old self. Like, no, Oda, you cannot have your cake and eat it. Too much. Now, granted, yes, this seems to be a bit of a contradiction to what I probably felt with, like, Soul coming back, but at the very least, to some extent, I could tolerate Soul for, like, for what possibly part of the story he might play, but frankly, I feel like, Kuma and, Vegapunk, at least Stella, their roles in the story are done. I do not see what else they can do. Frankly, I do feel like, and at the moment, this feels like to take any suspension from the Egghead, at least, because, okay, Saturn died at the end, but that's the bad guy. But you need at least one good guy character dead, and that was Stella. But, but Kuma, it definitely feels like, no, he should probably continue to lose his memories. And frankly, it kills off any tension. And frankly, the fact that this is all happening just as we having, the reminder that Soul is still alive, still hits, but still does not work. But frankly, it feels like Oda is just being like, this is just like the biggest criticism of One Piece is the fact that Oda cannot commit to killing anyone when he should. And frankly, this is like the biggest flaw of One Piece, and this is getting even probably on the levels of Fairy Tail, or just probably even worse than Fairy Tail, to be honest. It's like, there is so many times you can do this, and frankly, it's like, no, not with these characters. But granted, we'll have to wait and see if this is going to actually be possible. I mean, this is what Oda says is going to happen, but we do not know if there's something that would prevent it. But, yeah. Anyway, Anyway, I do like that the fact that we learned that okay, that you got kids of Elbaf going to school here, and that they were just waiting for Saul to come out and play his little act before coming out and play again. So there's like that, but I do like how Ange is just apologizing for trying to like help play in the act a bit. But yeah, I do like how she likes to wants to show everyone around, but Usopp and Luffy are just too enthusiastic to like wait for her, and they just want to go and explore themselves. I do like the design of the school, particularly like the walrus little emblem for like the school's logo, if you will, and like the little tree hut designs around it. So yeah. Anyway, I do like how Saul is just wanting to spend more time with Robin, showing the library, giving more bit of character for her, learning more about the history. And I do like how you got like Ange and Gud just showing Luffy around, at least keeping an eye on them. I like that Chopper is at least looking for medical stuff because, okay, yep, he's a doctor, and I would like to see more of him trying to do his own personal journey. Nami seems to be wanting to head off. Let's see, probably with the other Straw Hats. I do like that little comment of Brock about how he probably it's been ages since he went to school. So in plot, so we do learn that Brock actually went to school at some point in his life. I'm not sure if Luffy ever did, but at least one Straw Hat went to school. But anyway, it's kind of weird to think about because from what we can tell, the majority of the Straw Hats, with the exception of Zoro at the dojo, probably didn't actually go to school due to their upbringing and backstories. But yeah, at the best, they had like a mentor figure teaching them. But yeah. But anyway, I also do like that Frankie is going to check out the Adam Tree, which does lead to hopefully means that he's going to try and do some upgrades to Sunny, as I think Mr. Morge said. It's like let's see this theory of possibly Frankie turning the Thousand Sunny into possibly a sort of semi-Pluton. We'll have to wait and see on that if it's true or not. But yeah, I'm curious to see if Jinbei is going to tag along with Frankie, or at least if it's just like Chopper and Robin in the library, and the rest of Frankie at the Adam Tree, and the rest of the Straw Hats exploring the school library. But anyway, I do like how you got pretty much the little giant kids trying to chase Luffy, and he's having fun with it. But Zoro's going like, should I cut them? And Usopp saying, no, don't even think about it. They're kids. Even if they are, they're supposed to be kids. And Zoro's like, okay, fine. But let's see, as we're back to the summary, we get a bunch of the girls, giants, shouting at the boys, saying, stop that, saying not to chase humans around. And the boys start to apologize and also telling not to say pipsqueak. And this starts shocking Luffy at the fact that the boys are such wimps. And so I was going like, wondering if they're really brats from a village of warriors. And another kid saying, you're not supposed to call us brats. And Usopp's going, wait, this saying how it's weirding him out, saying, okay, let's see, listen, you can call us pipsqueak humans, it's fine, and saying, aren't you guys going to go out to sea one day and fight ruffians, aren't you? But then all the kids saying, no way, that's dangerous. Let's see, and this confuses Usopp saying, aren't you guys going to be the next generation of warriors? And the girls go like, don't call us guys. And they're like, so what? And it's like, it's a not in anymore kind of situation. And a grown-ass woman's voice says, it's not in anymore. And this gets Zoro like, wait, where does that voice adult come from? And Usopp saying, wait, what does that mean anymore? As the kid say that you should probably move, saying that you're going to get yelled at. As we see that Luffy, Usopp, and Usopp are actually on a giant woman, with Usopp being on her belly and Luffy being on her chest, which seems to be Oda doing a bit of a homage to what happened with Shirahoshi back in Fishman Island. But I guess Oda cannot seem to help himself with that kind of reference. But yeah. As the kids reveal that she's standing on the top of Miss Ripley, and being a bit shocked as they're surprised that they're on top of a giant. But she doesn't really mind, saying, you not let her have in, saying it's saying, is this shocking to you? when the warriors of Elbaf were ransacking the world was 100 years ago. As we get like introduction that this is the Walrus School's biology teacher Ripley, and she's just chilling, have her arms folded on her back, if you will. And as she says, insults, violence, and pilfering war, that's just not the world we live anymore, which shocks Luffy. As she talks about how so welcomed you and all that stuff, says, and you must be the Straw Hat crew. With let's see, with I believe Angie going like apologizing, saying how their brats are so damn annoying. And the kids start going, hey, what's your tone of voice? Oh, wait, no, it's actually probably Ripley that says that. But with them going like, Miss Ripley, that's mean. And perhaps maybe that's Angie saying that. But let's see, with her saying that she teaches by a negative example, basically saying, don't copy me, kids. Anyway, she says, she reveals that the great King Harold once said, don't fight other countries, trade with them, saying how he got into many arguments with the village chiefs and their traditions. Usopp going like King Harold, with Angie saying he was a great king who tried to reform this country and was killed by his own son before his dreams could be realized, but said this country refused to give his son the throne, and so Elbaf has no king now. So they pretty much, let's see, they don't pretty much have a head of state, practically. With them saying, okay, if the history lesson is over now, saying to go ahead and show them around the school, kids. You're like, yes, Miss Ripley. Things go on now. She says, let's see, and she ends up asking Luffy, why aren't you in your white-haired form, Captain? Saying she was looking forward to that. As Luffy says that's just his, let's see, my free form. And she says that the warriors of who looks there's a warrior who looks like that in Elbaf mythology. He goes like, oh yeah. And she said it made her heart race. We're saying they're the last generation of warriors here. With So says, oh, so you've already heard of most of the story. And she, as I think you get more of her, I think let's see, Ripley says, basically, I fled for my life. No, as let's see, Sol just goes like, basically, he fled for his life. I managed to get here to Elbaf, and saying that he couldn't get well, I think we're just basically cutting to Robin now, sorry, as he's telling her and a bunch of Chopper, and I think a few others are there saying that he couldn't help but worry about the books the scholars gave to protect their lives, so he asked the children's crew to take them back to Ohara. And he found all those tiny books cling to life. He wept, telling Robin to come in and watch out for that book, as the book she's holding starts growing to massive size. As he goes like, oh, ain't this something? All these books are now giant-sized, saying that every book in here here turns huge, saying that this is the wondrous Owl Library, and saying in here you'll find all texts that Ohara protected 22 years ago. Saying they search all over the island to find every last one, and you can check them all here, which we get like, of course, Robin, let's see, as we see Robin, Chopper, and Lilith, and Bonnie, which I probably should have looked at the full double page before commenting on who I don't know here, as they're all, let's see, amazed by the library. As Robin thinks back to what Clover was saying, that this is the best library in the world, asking her if she likes book. And Sol's just smiling how she finally gets to show her, and Robin's just all smiling and teary-eyed. So I'm going to give my thoughts now here on this part of the chapter. So basically we learn that despite the fact that the boys are a bit being a bit of troublemakers, chasing Luffy and Usopp and Zoro, it turns out that they're kind of a bunch of wimps, as they get as the moment the girl giants immediately let's see, criticize them for doing that, forcing them to apologize. They go like immediately sorry straight away, and I love that Luffy is completely shocked by how easy they give in. I do like the sort of confusion that you got from Zoro, Usopp, and Luffy, because, well, particularly Luffy and Usopp, they're excited to hear about the warriors Elbaf, only to learn that, okay, these kids aren't actually being taught to be warriors, and they don't like these kids actually don't like, let's see, insults as well as violence, if you will. And they're just confused. Granted, I think you probably might get some people making jokes about how they've all gone sissy or woke, if you will, perhaps. Who knows? Which I think I think it's just being a bit over exaggeration, but heck. But anyway, but I do like how we end up getting introduced to a member of the female giant warrior pirates, or former member called Ripley, a biology teacher, who's just quite, let's see, who I do like how it's just so casual about, let's see, people, let's see, humans just being on top of her, even though I think Oda's doing a bit of fan service there, but that's Oda for you. But let's see, I do like her character where she's a bit, let's see, foul mouth herself and telling the kids not to follow her example with what she says. But anyway, I do like that we learned that, okay, while there might have been, let's see, mighty warriors that ravaged kingdoms like 100 years ago, let's see, that thing is a thing of the past, as that we learned that King Harold, Loki's father, and I think Adrudan's father, he attempted to try and he decided to declare a reform to the kingdom instead of becoming raging war and violence, instead trade with them. And Itzy, and despite opposition from like many villages, chiefs and warriors, if you will, about their traditions, Itzy kept to it, even though he was eventually killed by his son Loki. So they still tried to carry out that those reforms at the very least at the school. I'm not sure if this is all the kids in Elbaf, but it seems at the very least these kids here are learning not to be violent aggressors at the very least, or being pirates that raid the villages, if you will. So I do like that explanation we get from Ripley and Angie. I do, like I said, I do like how let's see, she talks with the Straw Hat crew, apologizing for like, let's see, about also insulting her students, if you will. But anyway, it is also interesting that the fact that since King Howard was killed, there is no king of Elbaf now, so they're pretty much not really had a full-on head of state king, if you will. Now, it does make you wonder who's actually now in charge of Elbaf. If I had to guess, it'd probably be some of the more senior Elbaf chiefs at the very least. But yeah, luckily it seems that the Giants have not gone into a civil war, if you will. So, but yeah. But anyway, I do like the fact that Ripley is just very invested in learning about Luffy's white-haired form and was looking forward to seeing it, which Luffy, of course, just explains that it's free form, still not realizing that it's the Sun God Nika form. But yeah, but I do hope that means the fact that Ripley's interested means that Luffy's going to probably show it off at some point very soon. I'm very curious the fact that, because I do like the fact that Giants are taking a bit of an interest in that form, and at some point they're going to show it. But yeah. And we also learned that she's, of course, was a member of the last generation of warriors, so there's that. I do like how Sol is just giving Robin a brief history lesson about how he fled here from Elbaf, asked Drudan's crew to help him recover the sort of like, let's see, Urahara's books and found them and put them in this massive library, and that all of this knowledge is here for Urahara. I do like that we got this sort of magical library where books can grow to giant size, at the very least, in this library, as we see. I do like the fact that you got, of course, Robin and Chopper there, because, well, that's what they said they were going. And continuing on more on the fact that, okay, since all the books are here, Robin's going to try and learn as much as she can from her, like, fellow Urahara scholars, if you will. And the fact that you probably just got, of course, Lilith and Bonnie tagging along, probably for, like, information, as well as Chopper for the medical stuff. I do like how Robin's getting all teary-eyed thinking about Clover when he showed her the, let's see, Urahara library back then, and now she finally gets to do it. She finally gets to read all the books, even though she did sneak some of the ones herself. Anyway, we cut back to like the underworld where we let's see. Let's see, Loki talking to someone about how he's almost bored as him. With this voice saying he's bothering him, but he says, nah, he could use a conversation, calling this person partner, and says he's got really all the time in the world since he's chained up. With Loki asking, are you still traumatized by that experience that you were telling me about? As he goes like, I am. Even now, the memory makes me tremble uncomfortably. As we get a introduction to a snow transponder snail, a cold-resistant speech recognition type. So this transponder snail is immune to the freezing colds down here in the underworld. With Loki talking about how it hurts him to hear it, but says he's never really met you nor seen you, but he thought some twist of fate and talks about how they've been friends for a long time. And he talked about how if I were in your place, I'd have razed it to the ground and killed them all instead. With the Denden Mushi saying, I wasn't hoping for that much, you know. But he goes like, and he starts shouting, saying, and why you're so weak, Shaggy. So he ends up calling this person Shaggy and saying, listen, don't want to let these fools get away and put them down for good, saying that they'll come back for vengeance if you don't wipe them out. But he goes like, but Shaggy ends up saying thank him, and he's like confused by that, saying he realized recently that those fearsome words of yours hide his kindness, if you will. Talking about how he's implying that Loki's actually a good guy of some sorts. But Loki starts shouting, don't make me sick! Saying, how dare to suggest even such a thing? Saying that, I'm not having sassing like that. And saying, me kind, never say that again, furious. But Shaggy just says, please don't shout, as he says, shut up. Just you wait until I get these chains off. As we then cut to Western Elbaf Village, where you got some of the giants talking about preparing for asking whether the feast hasn't started yet, but they're just drinking to wait, with some saying that's just probably a little too much. As we see the former king's castle, black, sort of lightning teleport thing, as you see Broggy and a few of the giants celebrating, as we see two shadowy hooded figures being summoned in a magic circle similar to what the five elders use, as we get two figures, brief looks of them with like a woman, seemingly a woman in bandages, and a man that looks like Shanks arriving, ending the chapter. So yeah. Okay, first off, before we get to the hype double page at the end, I do like how we got this. We're cutting back to Loki, and he seems to be talking to someone. We get a new type of Denden Mushi. I do like how we seem to be getting specific types of Denden Mushis that are adjusted for environments like snow. Granted, that could have been very useful in Punk Hazard, I can tell before, but yeah. But I do like how Loki seems to be having a friendly conversation with this person by the fact that, this person am I bothering you? But he says, nah, I've got all the time in the world. Let's chat and all that stuff. And seems to be talking, and Loki seems to be wanting to help this person with whatever traumatized experience he has. And it's and he wants to and he considers this person friends and wants to help them by taking vengeance and killing his enemies, if you will. Even though this person called Shaggy doesn't actually want to. I do love that we got someone called Shaggy in the One Piece universe. Granted, whenever you hear the name Shaggy, you think of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but which has become quite the meme. Let's see with about how he's invincible with some Dragon Ball style stuff, but no, it's probably just some other guy, guy called Shaggy, though I wouldn't be surprised if Oda does draw him like Shaggy. I wonder if he would draw a Scooby-Doo as well. I'm getting too ahead of myself here. But we get him, of course, but despite how friendly he is, he's also saying, you're a bit of a wuss, that's saying you got to do violence and put them down. But Shaggy just thinks that this is just Loki just expressing his sort of kindness in a way, saying that he's trying to hide his kindness by going all tough and all that stuff. I do like how Loki tries to deny it, saying, no, don't ever call me kind again. But let's see, going about how he can't wait to get these chains off and show him. But this conversation seems to imply to me that Loki, despite probably what I thought couple of chapters back, might not actually be a bad guy. And for those who are commenting about how Loki's very similarly introduced to Zorro, seems to imply that okay, despite the fact that he's considered the shame of Elbaf and who killed the previous king, the fear is that okay, he might not actually have killed the previous king and just got blamed for it, and so a misunderstanding, and he's actually, for the most part, a decent guy, perhaps even just a little bit violent, if you will. But yeah, but the main hype for this chapter, and for me, what probably saved me from giving this like a bit of a negative because of some of the early stuff towards the end, is the fact that we've got the fact we've got seemingly got two black hooded figures, which, if I had to guess, are God's Knights, and one of them seems to confirmation is the evil Shanks twin theory, and the fact that we've got like magics, and they seem they have a similar ability to Five Elders of Magic Circle teleporting here, which seems to me imply that the God's Knights also seem to share in a little bit of Emu's power, at the very least teleportation, at least I assume that it comes from Emu. But yeah, this is pretty much hype. Let's see, the fact that we seem to actually, though, let's see, a lot of Mr. Morge's theories of the God's Knights being the antagonist of Elbaf, let's see, evil Shanks theory, all that seems to be actually happening. It's giving me a lot of hype and all that stuff. It seems like we're getting an idea of who our antagonists are. At the moment, there's just two of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get more down the line. But yeah, and it does lead to perhaps the belief that the fact that this evil Shanks is here might also suspect that he might be a theory that he's actually the one that killed King Harold. But another theory I've seen Mr. Morge do, which I wouldn't be surprised if he's correct. But yeah, honestly, these characters, this double page spread had just like arguably saved the chapter for me from like a bit of anger at the beginning. So yeah, overall my thoughts. To be honest, I was ready to give this chapter like a 5 or maybe a 6 out of 10, but the fact that it turns out it looks like Vegapunk, like the Stellar Vegapunk, is coming back from a cloned body, and they're going to try and restore Kuma's memories. But that even though there were some touching moments of like Luffy trying to talk to Saul, Robin saying how the Straw Hats will protect him, and them getting all emotional, stuff like that at the beginning. But it seems like all the stuff later is just like helping it, particularly the God Knight stuff with like this evil Shanks and this mysterious woman. And who knows, for we know, the evil Shanks might end up destroying the Stellar clone body, and maybe even killing Kuma, which like could arguably prevent those the return of those two characters in effect, which would be pretty dark and pretty ballsy from Older, despite teasing that they're coming back. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see in that part. But it would be one way to hype up the evil Shanks and just show how different he is from the good Shanks. But yeah, other than that, I do like how we have got an introduction to a few new giant teachers, Angie, the assistant to Saul, and Ripley, who apparently, from my understanding, is based off of a wrestler called Ripley, real life wrestler called Ripley, who is was a former warrior but now a teacher. But we also learned that Elbaf culture has kind of actually changed from actually the stories that Usopp and Luffy heard about 100 years ago about warriors that are privileged, but now they're kids that are learning to be more peaceful, learn about trade, negotiate with other countries, not pillage and ravage them, which I do like how at first it seems like they're a bit disappointed, particularly Luffy being shocked by how easy the boys apologize. But I do think this is more of like a positive thing of like not being like warriors all the time and causing nothing but war and misery. Try and actually build a better society, if you will. And we learned that, of course, that the Elbaf is a head of a state. Ritzy lacks a head of state, and of course, that Robin getting to see the giant library where books come to giant size. Oh, there's also a bit of an owl in the background, which is going to probably play a part in the next chapter, if I had to guess. We're going to learn more about that. But yeah, it's basically the appearance of what is seemingly evil Shanks' twin, and possibly the God's Knight. So yeah, we've seemingly finally got a confirmation of antagonists. So yeah, overall, I'll give this chapter probably a 7 out of 10. Probably would have been an 8 out of 10 if not for like the whole Kuma and Vegapunk possibly coming back to life. So but yeah, honestly, it's probably the weakest chapter I've seen of One Piece for a while, but hopefully the rest of the chapters will not be like this. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber. For those who end up listening, I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. Goodbye for now, as I am signing off.